suspect in that Denver shooting was on a safety plan at East High School. Officials say he had also been expelled from his previous school in a different district for violating board policy. So how do these student safety plans work? Here to break it down, President of National School Safety and Services, Ken Trump. Ken, thanks for joining. So what exactly is a safety plan? I think a lot of parents have not heard of this. And how does a student get to the point where they have to be assigned to one?
Thanks for having me with you, Becky. Ask 10 educators what a safety plan is. You'll get 100 answers. It all depends. First of all, parents need to understand the vast majority of kids are not on a type of safety plan. They're not randomly checking a large number of kids. That said, we've seen safety plans for children with special needs, children who are having suicide ideations or suicide threats, self-harm threats, to check what they may have on them, so that they're not causing harm to themselves. And it's more rare to hear of a case like this where there's a student who possibly could have been searched just for weapons alone. The key is, what's the threat assessment behind this? Whether it's self-harm, harm to others, what did they assess? Was it rated a low, medium, high risk? What did that assessment entail? Was it properly implemented? And were the actions taken, the plan that was set up, appropriate for the threat with the individual student who was involved in this shooting?
Ken, practically speaking, you just said it's not a one-size-fits-all. School safety plan can mean different things in different schools, but are other parents typically made aware if there are students on these plans? Should they be? And if you're watching this, what's the conversation you should be having with your school leaders?
I think the majority of parents are not aware of these. You do have some confidentiality issues, the Federal Privacy Act issues with individual students where educators can't just disclose discipline behavioral actions with individual kids. That said, as a parent, it is frustrating, alarming to know that something could culminate in an incident like this. So it's a very tightrope that the school administrators walk. And the question is, are they walking it in accordance with the threat that they face? And I think we have to have some candid conversations, because parents are increasingly fed up, and as our students, as we do our security assessments around the country, students are wanting more information and speaking out.
We know at this school in Denver, school administrators were conducting that search of Austin Lau, the suspect. Should it be school administrators doing these searches, or, would a police officer in this case have made a difference?
I've been in the school safety field for more than 30 years, consulting and working in schools. And historically, we have seen school administrators do these searches. They have a lower legal standard, reasonable suspicion versus probable cause. But we should have school resource officers. I think that district made a dangerous mistake, as I called out when they did it, of eliminating school resource officers, perhaps for political, social agendas involved, rather than an assessment of the effectiveness of the program. If it's broken or it needs work, fix it, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I think that in this case, if you think that a student is high risk of having a weapon to cause harm to themselves or others, the administrators may search the kid, but the police officer, the school resource officer, should be somewhere nearby to intervene if they have an officer on campus.
All right. We appreciate your expertise today. President of National School Safety and Services, Ken Trump. Thank you so much, Ken.